Have you ever questioned the reality of the world around you? Every single day, you wake up and implicitly trust your senses. You trust that the floor beneath your feet is solid. You trust that the sky above you is blue. You trust the warmth of the sun on your skin and the sound of the wind moving through the trees. We build our entire understanding of reality based on what we can see, hear, touch, taste, and smell. But what if your senses are lying to you? Think about your dreams. When you are deep in sleep, the dream feels entirely real. You feel fear, you see vivid landscapes, you hear voices. While you are in the dream, you have no idea that it is an illusion. Your mind constructs an entire universe from nothing. It is only when you wake up that you realize none of it was real. So a terrifying question emerges. How do you know, with absolute certainty, that you are awake right now? How do you know that the physical world you interact with is not just another projection of your mind? To find the ultimate truth, we must strip everything away. We must go beyond the physical world. Imagine for a moment that you have no eyes to see the light, no ears to hear the wind, no skin to feel the chill of the earth or the warmth of another human being. Imagine you were born in an absolute vacuum, a void where gravity does not exist. Your arms and your legs are spread apart, suspended in the air, never touching your own body. You are floating in an infinite, silent darkness. In this state, you have no memories, no past, no concept of the world outside. You have never seen a mountain, never heard a voice, never felt pain or pleasure. Every single one of your physical senses is entirely and permanently shut off. You are totally disconnected from the material universe. In this state of absolute, terrifying deprivation, do you exist? If you cannot feel your physical body, if you cannot see your own hands, and if you cannot even hear your own breath, how do you know that you are real? Most people in the modern world would say that without the physical body and without the physical world to interact with, we are nothing. They believe that we are just meat and bone, biological machines responding to stimuli. But over 1,000 years ago, a man looked into the deepest, darkest corners of the human mind and found a completely different answer. He discovered an unbreakable, undeniable truth hidden in the silence of the soul. He realized that even in that absolute void, you would still know one thing. You would not know what a human being is. You would not know what a physical body is. You wouldn't even know what the concept of space or time means. But you would undeniably, absolutely know that you exist. You would be fully conscious of your own being. In the silence of the void, a silent voice would echo, "I am." Even without a body, even without a universe to live in. The awareness of your own existence does not depend on flesh, bone, or blood. It does not depend on the physical world at all. You would know that you are an observing entity, a thinking essence. This is the legendary floating man thought experiment. It was conceived in the 11th century by one of the greatest minds in human history, the Persian polymath, master physician, and brilliant philosopher, Ibn Sina, known to the Western world as Avicenna. Centuries before modern neuroscience, centuries before the European Renaissance, Ibn Sina used this brilliant mental simulation to prove a monumental concept. The soul and the body are not the same thing. They are completely distinct entities. If you can be aware of your own existence while being entirely detached from your physical form, it means your essence, your true self, is something beyond the material world. Your body is merely a vessel. It is a temporary vehicle for the soul to navigate this mortal realm. This realization becomes incredibly profound when you consider exactly who Ibn Sina was. He was not just a mystic or a monk isolating himself in a mountain cave. He was a man of rigorous science. He was a master of logic, mathematics, astronomy, and most importantly, medicine. He wrote, The canon of medicine, a colossal medical encyclopedia that was so accurate and advanced that it remained the standard medical textbook in both Europe and the Islamic world for over 600 years. He observed the human body with the cold, calculated precision of a master anatomist. He mapped the complex network of veins. He understood the functions of the internal organs, and he cured the strange diseases of kings and emperors. He knew the physical mechanics of the human machine better than anyone alive in his era. Yet the more he studied the physical machine of the human body, the more he realized its profound limitations. Think about the biology of your own body right now. Modern science tells us that the cells in our bodies are constantly dying and being replaced. The skin cells you had a few weeks ago, and all the matter is changed. If your true self was just your physical body, then you would be a completely different person every decade. Your identity would dissolve as your cells died, but that doesn't happen. The I that remembers your childhood is the exact same I that is listening to these words right now. The observer remains unchanged even as the physical vehicle constantly transforms. Ibn Sina understood this a millennium ago. He understood that physical things decay. Flesh withers. Bones eventually turn to dust and scatter in the wind. But the intellect, the consciousness, the I that observes the universe, that is immaterial. It cannot be corrupted by physical decay because it is not made of physical matter. He argued that the human soul is not a property of the body. It is not something generated by the organs. Instead, it is an independent, non-physical substance. It is a spark of the divine order, carefully placed inside a mortal shell. The body desperately needs the soul to live, to move, and to function. But the soul does not need the body to exist. It is completely self-sufficient in its existence. 600 years after Ibn Sina walked the earth and wrote these profound truths, the famous French philosopher René Descartes sat by his fireplace in Europe and declared, "Cogito, ergo sum." I think, therefore I am. Descartes is often hailed by Western historians as the absolute father of modern philosophy for this specific realization. He doubted everything, and realized the only thing he couldn't doubt was his own mind thinking. But long before Descartes was even born, long before the European Enlightenment, Ibn Sina was floating in the absolute void of his own mind, proving the exact same thing but with a far more profound and elegant approach. Descartes proved that we exist because we perform the action of thinking. But Ibn Sina went a massive step further. He proved that our fundamental existence is entirely non-physical. We don't just exist, we exist as immaterial souls. Today we live in an age obsessed with the material world. We live in the era of artificial intelligence, supercomputers, and advanced neurology. Scientists map the synapses of the brain and try to find the exact location of consciousness. They call it the hard problem of consciousness, the absolute mystery of how physical matter like a brain can somehow generate a subjective inner experience. How do atoms and molecules create the feeling of love, the sensation of color, or the deep dread of the void? Material science struggles to answer this because they are looking for a physical answer to a non-physical phenomenon. We try to build intelligent machines, hoping that if we add enough circuits and codes, a soul will somehow appear inside the metal. But a machine, no matter how intelligent, only processes data. It does not possess the divine spark of awareness. It cannot sit in a void and realize its own existence. Ibn Sina gave us the answer 1,000 years ago. Consciousness is not a byproduct of biology. It is the fundamental reality of who you are. So I ask you to try this ancient meditation tonight. When the day is over and you finally lie in the dark, close your eyes, silence the room around you. Forget the weight of your hands resting on the bed. Forget the rhythm of your breathing. Forget the stress of your daily life, the job you have, the money you chase, and the chaotic world spinning infinitely outside your window. Strip away everything physical. Detach yourself from your biology. Let go of the material world completely. Dive into the silent, dark void of your own mind. What is left when everything physical is gone? Only you, the immortal observer, the unbroken consciousness, the soul. You are not the clothing you wear, you are not the reflection in the mirror, and you are not the temporary flesh that binds you to this earth. You are the invisible force that watches the universe unfold. If you found value in this deep journey into the human mind, make sure to subscribe to the channel. There is so much more ancient, hidden wisdom left to uncover in the forgotten pages of history. Until next time, never forget that you are infinitely more than just dust.